Thank you for listening to The Afternoon Pint. We are an independent podcast and we need your support. Please take a moment to hit that like, follow, and share button. Email us if you have an idea or suggestion for the show. Please send your feedback. We'd love to hear from you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, everybody. Nice to be with you.
Welcome to the Afternoon Pint. I'm Mike Tobin.
I am Matt Conrad.
And I am Mayor Andy Fillmore.
Mayor Andy Fillmore.
Wow.
The last time you were on our show, you were mayor candidate Andy Fillmore.
I was mayor wannabe, and I did want to be. And that was, what was that? Last summer sometime, or maybe September?
It would have been, it was September that we had you on. That's right.
About a year ago out in Sackville. That was a very good conversation. And nice to be back with you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Our last episode with Steve Murphy was just over there at the Old Triangle, right?
That's right.
Yeah, my gosh. And this is a pretty nice looking spot. This is our first time here, my first time in the mayor's office.
Welcome to the mayor's office. Yeah, it's
Very
a pretty
cool.
nice place to come to work every day. Very lucky. I can keep an eye on what's going on in the Grand Parade, as you can see.
Yeah.
And right now, the Christmas tree is all lit up. It's looking wonderful out there. There's a menorah that's got a couple of candles lit, and the place is looking pretty festive.
And your staff all likes you. They all think you're a good guy.
Yeah.
They all seem very happy and relaxed out there. So that's a good vibe, right?
I'm glad you noticed that. That's great.
Feel like we're in a safe space here.
I will say that, anyone who thinks that politicians don't keep their word, when he was on the show, he did say that it felt like a throwaway, but you said, we'll do a podcast at City Hall if I win. And here we are.
Here we are.
Politician keeping his word.
We're drinking non-alcoholic beer, though.
We are drinking non-alcoholic beer.
Because it's a dry zone, and I mean that's fair.
City Hall's dry, so thanks for rolling with that. But you picked a very nice option here, so thank you for that.
Yeah, the Crafty Radler's a pretty good one to have at the end of a day. Huh?
Pump House Crafty Rattlers.
Shout out to Moncton, Nova Scotia.
Yes,
there you go.
Yeah.
So let's roll into this stuff though. We got a lot of things to talk about, and we know you're a very busy guy, so we thank you very much for having us on here and doing this. So, so let's start with rewind a little bit. You went from Parliament Hill to City Hall. So,
and boy, are my arms tired.
So much has happened in that time, though. We're gonna get you to unpack it a little bit, but just to anyone listening because sometimes we get people from other countries, we've had you decided to not reoffer as MP, decided to run for mayor. We had Justin Trudeau resign as leader and prime minister.
Right,
Carney win. Now is in the position where he's one seat away from a majority, which is also pretty crazy. And here you are, and you've been in the seat now for a little over a year.
Yeah, about 14 months. That's right.
Yeah. So unpack everything, about the whole moving from federal to municipal. And
well, I'll say it's been a lot of fun to watch all the goings on in Ottawa from Halifax. I'm so glad to be here and not in the midst of all the excitement, but. It was quite a drama, wasn't it? Watching Justin Trudeau withdraw, watching Mark Carney's ascension, watching the near majority election on election night, and people getting back into politics that had resigned, and a leader expecting to be prime minister who didn't quite make it, and now right up to this past week with yet another floor crossing, putting the prime minister within one seat of a majority government. So it's been fun to watch it. I'm glad I'm watching it from here in Halifax.
Right.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is is there anything in the back of your head thinking maybe I should have stuck it out there?
Not in the least. There's a little bit of nostalgia. I made a lot of friends up there on all sides of the aisle, and I see them going through the fun and games, and there is some nostalgia for sure. But no, I did 9 years of that, and I resigned my seat to run for mayor, and it was a great decision.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think the Shannon who took over in your spot seems to be doing a pretty good job so far.
She is. Shannon worked at HRM for many, many years. She led the sustainability department, and she's bringing that ethos to Ottawa, and she's doing a great job.
Yeah, you guys just tagged each other in or something.
That's right. Isn't that funny? And the story goes back even further because you'll remember that Mike Savage had been an MP and became mayor, and so who knows what's next for Shannon? Maybe she'll be our mayor down the road.
She'll be the next one running the place.
There we go. When Andy's ready to
What do you
Call
think's
it-
like the biggest mental shift going
Yeah.
from, federal politics to municipal politics?
Yeah, well, everything's very much more local, right? In the other job in Ottawa, I had my focus on Halifax, but on those national issues like employment, like immigration, like national defense. So even though they're local, they are of a piece of a national puzzle. In council, it's local with a capital L. It's the rec center in my district. It's the sidewalk outside my house. It's the pothole, the bus. It's extremely local. So that's very different. However, I think you guys know that my career for over 20 years before politics was city planning.
Right.
So I'm kind of right back in my sweet spot, back in my comfort zone here, being the mayor of a city of 500,000 that's the fastest growing city in the country, and that is going to continue to be, and that is just so full of opportunity. I'm thrilled.
Were you a city planner here in Halifax, or where did you do city planning?
I was. I
cool.
did city planning. I studied at Dalhousie, but I cut my teeth down in Boston on a project called the Big Dig, and then worked in Maine in a very small rural community for a few years, and moved home to Halifax in 2005 and worked at the city for 7 years, led the creation of the downtown plan, the HRM by design downtown plan it was called. That's what that necktie is over on the wall over there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool. I don't know if the camera will be able to get that.
No, probably
but,
not.
yeah.
When I left the city in 2012 after delivering the downtown plan, my team had the downtown concept plan printed on a necktie and mounted in that shadow box. So that's my full circle moment there, being back here at HRM.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, in terms of the transition, like, what do you feel? And maybe there was none, but what do you feel was like the biggest surprise entering into municipal politics versus federal politics?
Yeah, I have an answer for that. One thing that you learn to do in federal politics during debate is to bring your A game. Like you bring the passion, you bring your research, you're on your feet, you're speaking with passion and conviction, and that's how I turned up in the council chamber. It turns out that's not exactly a common way to do it. So I learned that folks are expecting a much more sort of calm and measured, maybe more, I don't want to say less enthusiastic, but less expressive way of expressing your opinion during debate. So I've learned to tone it down a little bit so I don't ruffle feathers and catch people off guard.
I think it can be a good mix between the two, because council can be pretty dry and pretty slow.
I'd say council would be more civil, wouldn't they be? Or no?
Oh, they're definitely more civil because I don't know if you've ever watched.
It's ridiculous.
The House of Commons.
I mean, it's quite a performance, is what I should say.
It's a kind of performance, but it's and you know
Formative art.
It's not even like when you're standing up there and you're talking to Mr. Speaker. And
Yeah.
That's one thing. That's a bit of a performance. The stuff I don't like, and you get your little jabs in there sometimes, which is funny. It can be funny. But what I don't like about it, because we have these people who we've elected to kind of serve as our government and all that, is the stuff that's in the background.
Right.
The catcalling and the insults
heckling.
and the heckling.
Yeah.
I think that should just be wiped out.
There's none of that in council?
No.
No?
There's actually not. I mean, sometimes people have side conversations that can be distracting, but when you're in the chair, you try to give a little hand signal because when someone else has the floor, they do find that distracting. They could lose their train of thought, and you can see the people who have a little consternation on their brow. So I try to address that and keep it all fair. But I don't miss the heckling. That was really. Speaking of distractions, oh my gosh, you're on your feet trying to give a speech or make a point, and you're getting all kinds of things hurled at you. But it does toughen you up, I'll tell you.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet it does.
So we got a rear view real quick. So this is episode's coming out in 2026, dry January. So Pump House, please send me another case of these. But what was one of your biggest accomplishments for 2025 that you think you did?
Here in HRM in the new job. Yeah.
Well, I will say one of our listeners wrote on our Facebook, because I said on my Facebook that you were talking to you today. And he said, I'm going back to listening to the episode that he was on because you made a commitment about what the things you'd like to do in your first 100 days. He says, Let's see if he accomplished the things that he wanted to do in his first 100 days.
I should have re-listened to.
I should have listened to that too. You're in good company, man. I don't remember what you said.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean,
way.
it was to have you fellas back in about a year, so we have checked that box.
Check that box.
That one's
Okay.
checked.
Yeah.
Well, I would say, when you run to be elected, you run on a platform, and the platform, I believe, is like a contract with the people that you're asking to vote for you. And in my contract that I made, I said that I would do everything that I could to hold the tax rate flat in my first year. And I did. So we were delivered a budget that did not have a flat tax rate. In fact, it had a fairly good increase. And over the months of debate with my colleagues, I was able to beat it down to a 0% increase on the tax rate. So promise made, promise delivered.
Cheers to that.
I feel good about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and we'll get to the upcoming one that we'll talk about that one in a little bit because But I think that's a good thing. I think that's much needed. People are struggling,
Right, sure
increasing
are.
taxes. And I mean, like I said, we can get to that other stuff, the other solutions further down. But
I'll jump over to the next bit. So this is just a hit and a miss, or what's one thing in 2025 looking back that you kind of regret or wish we could reverse or work harder on in 2026 that we just don't really have gotten right yet?
Listen, I'll take some responsibility here. I mentioned a few minutes ago that, about the way I turned up in the council chamber with a lot of energy and some pretty big ideas. And I think that kind of rocked some of my colleagues a little bit. Let's say this. HRM has a new mayor for the first time in 12 years. Half the council is new. I started a new job, a new position for the first time in a decade. There is a lot of change happening right now. And so I reflect on how I showed up in that change. And I'll wear it that I wish if I could go back, I would have shown up a little bit more in a more conciliatory way with my colleagues to try to get them to believe and support some of the things that I believe and support and the things that I ran on. Because I think my early enthusiasm might have been a bit off-putting for people.
But in fairness, there's probably a lot more you all have in common than what you don't have in common. Is that not true?
That's absolutely true.
Right.
That's absolutely true. We're often, even though we're saying it differently, often we're saying the same things. And so it's worth taking time to listen carefully to each other and discern what it is that we actually agree on and act on those things.
and that's, I guess, some of the thing is like the. I know we had a couple comments on when I said we were talking to, like, a couple people did make comments and saying how they the way you kind of came in was almost kind of like is that really how a mayor should kind of come in charge and all that stuff. And I know there was the whole like strong mayor or super mayor,
yeah,
whatever it was. I don't know if you get a cape if you get that or not, but like
I got lots of kryptonite because of it, I'll tell you that.
That's good. I mean, that being said, though, maybe there was a healthy balance or something like that in there. That being said, I personally didn't dislike the energy that you brought to it. Because
you have the exact same energy, though.
I have the same energy. I ran in 2020, right, for council.
Yeah.
And I probably would have brought the same energy that you would have, because I do think that we need a little bit of shake up and a little different thinking and things like that here. Like I said, that in between, not quite, not quite Parliament Hill, but a little bit more than what we got going on, kind of thing. So
yeah. Well, you mentioned strong mayor powers. That's what they're called in Ontario. I always refer to them as accountable mayor powers here, or even accountable governance. And so the challenge that I saw and that I tried to articulate was people in every district in HRM voted for, by a pretty good margin. I didn't quite double my nearest competitor, but pretty handy to doubling my nearest competitor in terms of the vote count. Voted for a mayor with a really clear platform on affordability, mobility, and housing. And when it gets down to it, there's no way for the mayor to expressly direct any kind of change. You have to work through the council process, bring people along. So you are very much one vote of 17, chair of the board. And I think it's a reasonable question to ask that in the complicated 21st century, with challenges breathing down our neck, with opportunities coming at us lightning fast, is a governance structure that was designed for a smaller, slow-moving city serving us. And that was the question that I was asking.
So, yeah, I mean, like I think reform of some sorts could be viewed at. How do you feel about like how Quebec does it? Because they bring in parties. There's parties in municipal politics in Quebec. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, there are other cities. Vancouver. I was just chatting with the ex-mayor of Vancouver on the weekend, Gregor Robertson, who's now Canada's Minister of Housing. We were talking about that. I was happy to leave partisan politics behind.
Yep.
Now, could there be organizing ideas that sort of that bring people together in candidacy, so that if we can all agree that, my gosh, there is a housing crisis and we do need to get bus rapid transit going, well, then wouldn't that be good to express that to the community so they can say, there's a group of people that will actually act on the things that's important to us. So I wouldn't put it along partisan party lines, but I might say that there is room for organization around ideas.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing. I mean, really, you have to be a good negotiator to be sitting on council.
You do. It's a game of relationships.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot about that this past year. It really does turn on those personal relationships. And so the trick is, how do you live up to your own ideals? Mm-hmm. I'll just talk about myself. How do I live up to my ideals? How do I live up to what I promised the voters I would do in that contract called a campaign? Mm-hmm. But in a way that I have to navigate that with 16 other opinions and perspectives. It's not always easy, and that's why you don't win every vote.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. And I think a lot of people don't really fully realize that, because they think mayors do have these authorities or whatever it may be, right?
You're one vote.
You're a tiebreaker, basically.
Yeah.
I think it's true that the majority of HRM residents believe that the mayor is the boss, and that's not the case.
No, yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. It's maybe there's some sort of reform in there, but I think that's a good conversation. I think it's a good conversation to have.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm going to move and ask about some pressure points that are going on in Halifax right now. I know people are going to be listening to this episode, and they're probably going to be, are they going to ask some of these questions? So we're just going to dive in through some of the things. But first I want to say, in your own opinion, how would you describe the state of Halifax in a sentence or just a blank statement? How are we doing right now, and how do you think we're going to get through 2026?
Hi, this is Kimmy and Jeff from Exit Realty, wishing you a warm and wonderful holiday season.
This episode is brought to you by Camilla Najat with Exit Realty Metro.
Camilla Najat is an experienced real estate agent who prides herself in finding the perfect home for her clients. Camilla can help you with a comparative market analysis to help determine the value of your home if you're planning on selling, or help you determine the going rate for the neighborhood you're moving into. She can also work with you at your pace.
You can reach Camilla by calling 902-880-8429 or email camilla@exitmetro.ca.
Also, you can find her on Facebook at Camilla Najat, Exit Realty Metro.
I think we're doing a good job of managing the challenges of growth, and I believe we are faced with remarkable opportunity in the years ahead. So I think Halifax is in a great place. I would stack it up against any other Canadian city, and even going beyond Canada. We are a place that the world has discovered. We have a physical, natural beauty here that people envy and want to be part of. The tech and startup community has found us. There's the ocean cluster community that's found us. There's biotech. There's the research, AI now defense. This brings us to defense. NATO has set up their one of two defense innovation accelerators of the North Atlantic in Halifax, one of two globally.
Potential there.
And that's tapping into the existing aerospace and defense cluster that we have here, building the ships of tomorrow's Navy. And we are in an incredibly enviable position to win the in-service support contract for Canada's future submarine fleet. And that is going to be like shipbuilding all over again. That's billions and billions and billions of dollars into our economy.
There's also some other stuff, like other tech stuff that's going on in the city. I mean, last year we had William Burt on, and he was talking about how he was taking carbon out of the air and actually inserting it into the water.
Yeah.
And like that's being done here in Halifax.
It is
endless.
over at Cove. They're doing. I'm just blanking on the name of the company.
Nope, it's gone.
It's a good name, but yeah, they're
good name, yeah.
sequestering
And
carbon.
Carbon Cure is another company that does something similar. I mean, there's so many of these great companies.
into concrete.
here.
That's exactly right. But yeah, Cove and the Oceans Cluster are just unbelievable right now.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a bunch of tech stuff that's going on. I mean, we know that there's just next door is Volta.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. And we did a couple of things there as well. Lots of great incubation and development going on there. We're 100% for development in Halifax, so we applaud seeing that kind of stuff happen. Now, one of the big hairy things is traffic, right? I even today, I don't want to tell you, I mean, but there was an accident in one spot. I had to go another route, and then, oh dear, like, wherever you go in this city, right now, expect to take a significantly longer amount of time to get there. How are we going to even start to untangle this web of getting down to the peninsula?
Yeah, and what an important question. And we're not going to solve any problems unless we can speak candidly and transparently about those problems. So that's what I've been doing, and I'll continue to do that, whether it's traffic and transportation or any of the other things. We need to get bus rapid transit going in Halifax. That is the next level of sophistication that our transportation system requires. The way that congestion is and the way the bus service is now, people are, the buses are stuck in congestion. So people are making the choice, I may as well be in my car. And of course, that's just reinforcing the congestion. It's slowing the buses. So we're in what some people might call a doom loop here, but we can get out of it. When we build that bus rapid transit system, those are express buses with fewer stops. They're comfortable buses. You can imagine maybe a fold down table to put your laptop on and a cup holder for your coffee. You're doing work on your commute, or you're communicating with your people in your life on your commute. That's going to be a game changer for us. But there's something even more immediate and interesting, and that was, you might have noticed that this past week, what day are we now? Tuesday. It was last week. The provincial minister of transportation, Fred Tilley, announced that he has released an RFP seeking an engineering or some such company to do a review of congestion on the peninsula of Halifax.
I saw that.
And so that's an example of the provincial government taking an interest in the well-being and economic functioning of the capital city, which I think is entirely appropriate.
Yep.
And willing to be a partner with us to make some moves to improve congestion and move people around a little bit better. We don't know what that study is going to show. I think it'll have to do with new commuter routes. It possibly could be the way the premier would get his often talked about light rail system started. Yeah. It could be new bus routes. It could be improving the function of intersections with smart signalization. And then the minister has identified a couple other things that he might try too.
So we're not sure, but we're working on it as
they're working on
it. You're looking at everything.
So this is a perfect moment because I made this comment on one of the radio stations that announced this study.
Sure.
So I'm going to give you a hard time a little bit, but not you directly, because this happened before you were in municipal politics. But it is a frustration of mine. And you said talk candidly, so I'm going to talk candidly. Driving up Quinpool, going inbound between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. you cannot turn right, not left, right to go down to the until you hit Connaught to go into the south end. The frustration with that is that it bottlenecks. So for me, looking at it, there's only two conclusions why I come to that. The wealthy in that neighborhood has petitioned their councillor to prevent rush hour traffic to drive through their neighborhood, or someone has intentionally bottlenecked to bottleneck it. Because when you look at grid systems, the idea is that you should be able to take off routes to spread the traffic out so you're not all coming through. This directly does the opposite of that. You're either not letting my wife, who takes that route every day.
Are you trying to get a job in the transportation?
Absolutely not. No, what I'm trying to do is get those signs taken down because I think it's not right.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so I was having this conversation just this weekend about the importance of a functioning grid in a city. You know, a grid that presents you with choices left, right, straight at every intersection that you get to. Right. And that's how you keep people, buses, bikes, anything, trucks, delivery service vehicles, everything, fire trucks, ambulances moving is through the choice that a grid offers. And as soon as we start to monkey with the grid, you know, no right turn on red, or restrict timing, introduce complications into the grid. The functioning of the grid breaks down, and things start to move less slowly. You have a less efficient city. You gave two options why it might have happened. I think it's the latter of your two options. The previous council gave really clear direction to city staff to put pedestrian safety ahead of all other considerations. And so those no right turn on reds are in the name of pedestrian safety. Now,
this is not right on red. This is right at all.
You can't turn right. Okay. All right.
This is right at all.
So, okay. So that's a similar issue, related issue. Now I lost my train of thought, buddy.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I know what I'm like. I do that too.
That's all right. Oh, I was going to say but the data is showing, since the introduction of these controls, and particularly the no right on red, there's really not a positive change. Like, the data doesn't show that things are better. So, data probably shows that congestion's worse. In fact, it does show that. So, I think we have some consideration to do of whether we're doing this right, whether we're actually serving all of the people that use the roadways, whether they're pedestrians or cyclists or all the other user groups that I just mentioned, in a way that everybody can have their needs met without sacrificing the needs of some of those groups having their needs met.
So I'm going to go down and take those signs down, because I'd say Mayor Andy said that this is not right. Let's take him down.
Okay, yeah. I want you doing some short videos there when this episode.
Yeah, it's just going to be that. It's like, just take him down.
You're on your own, cowboy.
We won't do that to you.
Okay.
But one thing is that we do, obviously, another element of traffic is that there's a lot of people moving here. That's another big thing. There's two things there. So how do we handle infrastructure and population growth and housing?
Yeah, well, that's a big question, pretty open-ended. Yeah. So right now we have to be building around 8,000 units of housing per year across.
What are we doing now?
We're not even cracking 4,000. We're just below 4,000 for the last 3 or 4 years. So we've got a lot of work to do to move faster. And some of that has to do with approvals time. Some of that has to do with rezoning of land. But more and more, it has to do with Halifax Water's ability to provide water, wastewater, and stormwater service to these growth nodes that we have, these growth areas in the suburban areas. So this is becoming serious. This has the potential to impact our economic competitiveness. Before we got started today, I was talking to you about how the federal government is going to be making massive investments in national defense to meet NATO commitments, and Halifax, as home to the largest armed forces base in the country and home to all 3 branches of the service, is going to benefit disproportionately from this massively increased defense investment. That's going to bring all kinds of more people working in the field, more families. It's going to drive housing growth at a rate that's disproportionate to other areas in Canada. And we need to be on the ball and making sure that we can service all these areas.
Yeah. If we're truly only doing less than half, then we're just not keeping up at all. So I do know it seems like different levels of government kind of seem to be pointing the finger, saying like, well, we need these approvals, but we also need the workers.
And we need the workers, and we need a governance system that works. Yeah. And we need federal and provincial assistance to pay for the infrastructure, because we can't put it all on the municipal taxpayer. And it is a collective responsibility that we have a functioning capital city.
Great segue to the next. The 10.5% question.
Oh, dear. Okay, you go for it, Matt. Get it in there.
Oh, it's getting warm now. In here.
I'll cool it down after Matt here. I'll come to something warm and fuzzy after this.
Listen. He got it beaten down to 0 last time. Do you think he can do it again?
Yes, please. Gosh,
so it's going to be a tough slog this year. But here's what I'll tell you. So the very day that council approved the 0% rate increase last year, I had another motion ready to go. And that motion was, okay, council, join me in directing the staff, like vote with me. And they did. And we directed staff to, for this year's budget, no increases other than collective bargaining agreements. contracts that are already signed, and inflation. So just allow for increases of those three things. And staff came back a month ago and said, we just did those things you said, and that's a 10.5 increase on the average tax bill.
Right.
So that's how much things are costing right now. So now to get that back, to beat that back, because people can't afford 10.5.
Yeah.
In light of how water rate increases and
Yeah,
power
all
rate
that stuff
increases
too. Yeah,
and all those things, inflation and interest rates, we're going to have to beat that back, and that is going to mean some tough choices about then what are we going to cut? What are we going to cut? And so
Bike lanes.
we've got a strong opinion there.
No, actually, you know what? I actually do not have a strong opinion on bike lanes, but that seems to be what everyone's talking about online.
It is probably the number one comment when you're looking at
Yes.
a lot of, what's going on with the roads, and then there's complaints about bike lanes.
Well, let's look and see what comments this conversation generates from your
100%,
listenership. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to cut something, and so that same motion that I had passed last summer also directed the staff to start to define for the council in this budget process what are our core services and what are those extras that we've just gotten used to adding on.
Yeah.
Because they all cost a lot too. So it's my belief that we need to pare back the things that are outside of our core mandate, refocus on core services, refocus on diversifying our revenue streams to relieve pressure from the tax rate, and deliver residents a budget they can afford.
Could this be more opportunities for private organizations that want to help deliver those services?
Absolutely, it is. I was just in Boston talking to the transit authority down there about the way they've invited the private sector into ferries. So they're using ferries at peak hours in the morning and night to move commuters all around Boston Harbor. In between peak hours, those same boats, private operators are taking people out to Harbor Islands. They're
Call my
going
buddy Dave, get the speedboat.
right?
We'll make $40 a
Whale watching
morning.
tours,
Yeah, there you go.
going. You can imagine going out to Sambro Light.
There you go,
yeah.
So there's a huge opportunity.
That was brought up in the comment today when someone said talk about
Privatization.
privatization of transit. I don't know if it works just because transit's a money loser, right? Not in the grand scheme of things, but in a direct thing. We know we need to get people to work. And those people,
think
whatever. Pay
I think
taxes and
I
stuff.
think if you did it private on a small scale, it could be successful.
Yeah.
So if you actually had probably more people doing it on a smaller scale, it probably more. Like say if you had
And
somebody
keeping the boats busy all the time, right?
You had somebody going from Sambro into the city every day, right? Doing that loop run, but everybody was on board in the community, and it worked for the majority of the people that
It's
needed
selling the
service.
people on that lifestyle change, though.
Right.
So that's one way to bring the private sector into to relieve the burden on the taxpayer. It was through transit ideas. But another one is, let's say we're building a new transit terminal. Why wouldn't we go to, I don't know, Tim Hortons or a dry cleaner chain and say, we're building this building. Why don't you come in and partner with us? You help to share the cost of the building. You're going to provide a service to our transit users. It's going to make transit more attractive to use. And then we relieve burden on the taxpayer because you're helping to pay for it all. So that kind of private sector collaboration, like a cafe in a public library, another example, helps to keep the tax rate low.
If you put pints at all of the Metro Transit stations across the city, I'll just stop driving. I think that would be a huge incentive for me.
It's funny you mention it because one of the things that the private operated boats in Boston Harbor do is you can get a pint of beer on your commute home, and it's perfectly legal.
Listen, there was a mayor who once made some beer, in this city.
Oh yeah,
I've heard
He's
of
on
that
the wall
guy.
a
Yeah.
few times down there.
Yeah, he's on the wall a couple times down there, and I think he'd be all for it.
Yes, that's right.
Mayor
I
Keith.
bet you, I bet you it wasn't dry back
Cheers to
then.
Mayor Keith.
No, it wasn't dry back then.
No. So, okay. With all the evolving stuff, everything. One thing before we go into that, because I hope with the development that we're going to see and the development that we're hoping to see, and the natural assessments of things going up. I mean, those must not be keeping up with. If you're saying that, we did just these things, the buildings that are going to get built that people are going to be paying now higher property tax on, all that must be taken into effect and into consideration with this whole kind of the funds and all that stuff, right? So even with those new developments, those higher tax, because this vacant lot is now assessed at $3 million, not 150.
Yeah,
That must have been all considered and taken into effect for this.
It's a complicated equation, but it is. And will it surprise you to learn that the revenue growth from increased assessments from last year to this year's budget in HRM was only $6 million. So the assessments, the rise in assessments has really slowed down, and we could rely on a much higher number for years and years than that number, and so that's hurting our revenues. One of the challenges is that we operate under the assessment cap, which is suppressing our incomes and suppressing the tax rate and distorting the market. And one of our councillors, Councillor Steele, has passed a motion just earlier in December that directing our staff to study the assessment cap and to explain how it's distorting the market and in what ways it is disproportionately impacting first-time home buyers and newcomers and rewarding people of a long tenure who've been in their home for 20 or 30 years that really don't need the help. So that's a very interesting and rich topic, but things like that distort our ability to raise revenues, and that's why I'm very focused on diversifying our revenue sources in some of the ways we've talked about.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Great answer. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess what we can do before we move
before the 10 questions, I said warm and fuzzy stuff. So, I mean, let's just talk about the people, the citizens of Halifax here for a moment. And I'm sorry, Matt, this isn't really on there, but we've grown to be a much more diverse place over the last 5 or so many years. What can we do to make sure we're staying Halifax in the sense of promoting the kindness? I thought having the nice agent here last year was one of the best things we've
Wasn't
done
that
there on the
great?
boardwalk, man.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I really want to see and make sure that this maritime city keeps that one thing of friendliness towards one another, despite differences, despite whatever. Any insights on how we can improve that going into 2026?
I think just keep doing what we've always done. And I always hear from people who are visiting about the kindness of Maritimers, the kindness of Haligonians. And as far as I can tell, when people are moving here, whether they're coming from other parts of Canada or they're coming from around the world, they notice that too, and they're adopting that. So we all just need to keep on doing the things that we do. That's kind of a way of being in the world answer. But if I make it physical, I'm a city planner. Like, what else can we do? So there are things that make this place what it is. Like Barrington Street and the waterfront and the scale of some of our neighborhoods. So we also want to be protecting and cherishing those things. We have to allow growth and change and all that, but we can be discerning about where and how that goes. And we have something called the regional plan that does a really good job of showing where and how growth should happen and how we interconnect communities and so forth. So we can grow and stay true to who we are and what's attractive, what makes us attractive on the world stage.
To kind of add to that, what do you think Halifax can do as the regional municipality, what we can do for our part to help attract the people we want to bring here? Yeah, like, for example, tradespeople, health professionals, and things like that.
Yeah, so I would say talk to your elected provincial and federal representatives about that. The federal government made a decision to sort of slow the faucet on immigration growth in Canada while services like healthcare and housing caught up. I think it's temporary. The faucet's going to be eased back on shortly. And I'm very pleased to see that there is already a focus on skilled labor, whether that's in health or whether that's in building trades. So there is a focus, like we're being more discerning about bringing in the skills that we really need to, for example, build all the infrastructure we need to build the housing that we need to do, and to deliver healthcare to people that are aging in Canada.
Is there anything that you think that you guys, our council can do to so you can't immigrate anybody, but you can wave the flag of here's where you want to be, kind of thing?
Yeah, and I have to give credit to the former mayor, Mike Savage. He really his primary focus was on creating a welcoming city that acknowledged diversity and acknowledged that our diversity is our strength, to borrow a phrase. And so that's really important. I've continued his every year he had a welcome event for international students, for foreign students.
Yeah.
So I'm carrying that on. I had it back in September down at the Westin. We had I think 500 international students came, and it was a wonderful evening. So the more we celebrate the multicultural role of Halifax as a leading city in a multicultural country, then I think we are going to continue to attract people, which we need to do for our economy.
100%.
Just jump right before the bottom of the 10 questions here, Matt, because we don't want to run out of time, unfortunately. So
Yeah, we're going 10 questions.
Well, just before, there was just
Okay.
one other thing here. I love this question. As mayor of Halifax, what's quality of life, and what does that actually mean to you and what every citizen should have in our city?
Sure. Look, it's affordability for one thing, making sure that people can afford the services they need, whether that's the rec program after school or getting on the bus or the ferry that they need, their tax rate, the rent, all those things those are all elements of affordability and quality of life. There's also the cleanliness and safety of the city. So that feeling you get when you walk down the street, like this place is clean. Someone cares about this place, like this place is looking good. That's quality of life. Things to do in the city, like an amazing central library, a killer waterfront, a place where arts and culture can thrive. Like our indie music scene is like second to none in the country. That's quality of life. How we meet the needs of a growing population, a growing community, getting enough houses built, connecting communities with transit that's enjoyable to ride. That's quality of life. And I'll go back. I'll finish it maybe by what you said a minute ago about what it is to be. What is it? What's the magic about this place? How we are nice to each other, and how people want to be here because we're welcoming.
100%. It's my favorite place to be.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So thank you for all that. I mean, we asked you a lot of tough questions there in a short time. We jumped through a lot of different themes and topics. That's kind of what we do.
Yeah.
So
now we're going to go into the 10 questions.
All right, the dreaded 10 questions.
not so dreaded. These are pretty
This is the
silly and
lightest
fun.
part about it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Gotta go.
All right, Matt.
You want me to
wanna
start?
do one?
Sure,
Yeah,
I'll
buddy.
start.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the Great Donair Debate. Halifax, obviously, official donairs, right? It's our official food. But when nobody's looking, where's Andy ordering donairs from?
Listen, man, you're going to get me in trouble. There is no safe answer here. I'll tell you, I have allegiance to two, and I spread myself pretty equally between the two. And they are Tony's, which was my OG.
Classic.
That was an institution.
From when I was a kid. Yeah. And then King of Donair.
Also classic.
I should have won a donair eating contest when I was MP at King of Donair on Quimpo Road, but some dodgy judging cost me the win, so I still bear a little bit of
Those Nahasses, I tell you.
All right. So this is just real talk. Term limits. Yes or no? Should Halifax Council members have term limits? And would you apply them to yourself also?
That's a good question. There are no term limits at any order of government anywhere in Canada. So that's a very American construct. And I think right now people are kind of looking down there and going, thank God for term limits. But sometimes you think about that in Canada. I don't know. I think if I'm lucky enough to serve for 8 years here, I'll be of an age where I'll be ready to pass the torch on to somebody who's ready to put a lot of energy into it. So I'd be okay with that. But that really is one of those questions you have to take to the public to figure out how they feel about it.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh, that's fair.
Okay.
Question number 3. So, mayor's hours. Are you solving the city's problems at 6 a.m. or doom scrolling them at midnight?
Both. Yeah, I turned to one of my colleagues a few days ago, and I had gotten this cold that you can still hear in my throat a little bit, and I turned to her and I said, "Remember the part in our career where we actually had something called a sick day?" So the hours are a little bit crazy. My team works with me on weekends and evenings. They get to rotate, but it's always me. But they're incredible. But the hours are long, but that's the price of admission, and you have to turn up. People send you into this job with their vote, and they have a reasonable expectation that you're going to be there for them. And it's not just the work at the desk with the hard policy work that's really important. It's also heading down to the Legion and saying hello to folks and shaking their hands. So all those things are important.
100%.
Good answer.
No, that's good.
Yeah. One day in Halifax, someone's in town for 24 hours. What's the one thing they absolutely have to experience or they didn't really visit Halifax, in your opinion?
I've mentioned the waterfront a number of times, so I'm going to say you've got to walk that waterfront from one end to the other and get a sandwich or stop into our restaurant and have a pint.
Easy night.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
The waterfront is awesome. My 4-year-old
always a
loves,
win.
he loves going down and just walking the waterfront. I do that every weekend.
Yeah. The Evergreen Fest there the other week was fantastic,
something?
right?
The fire
it's so
pits
nice
and
and
all.
little fire pits
So
and all
great.
that.
Yeah. All right. Question number 5. So where's the best view in the city?
Oh, I was very lucky. A couple of years ago, I got invited to climb up inside the tower, one of the towers of the McDonald Bridge. Oh. There's a little ladder in there. You open a door at the roadway level and you get a harness on. And it felt like it took 15 minutes to get up there. But once you get up on the top, there's actually a walkway at the top of the tower. So next time you're driving across, look up there and you can kind of see the railing.
Yeah.
It might be covered right now because of the construction, but it's up there. And you can look one way across Dartmouth to the horizon. You can look across Halifax, right across the peninsula to over Cowie Hill and all the way to the horizon. That way you can see right out to the mouth of the harbor and the curve of the earth on the horizon there.
The earth's curved.
It's sorry. Is that news?
That's not on my other show. Yeah. Okay. Anyways.
That sounds like the Halifax's version of the Skywalk.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
So you're up.
Oh, sorry. I lost my thing. You just go ahead because I got to get back.
Okay, sure. So question number 6. So what does turning your brain off actually look like for you?
Oh, I'm a carpenter. I'm a furniture designer and builder. I've built a few kitchens. I've built some additions and do a lot of my own renovations. So that's my meditation is woodwork, getting out my pencil and drawing a plan and then getting down to my workshop and actually building it. So that's
great, man. I'm building a deck at the spring. If you need some time to relax, come on over.
I just finished my front deck in time for the snow to fly.
Okay.
I didn't even have a chance to sit on it and the snow came.
Yeah, right on. Made a new friend today. That's great.
There you go. Yeah. Question number 7.
Oh my gosh, yes. So no politics here, man. This is just the physical. Okay, physical.
Right.
Okay, who wins a fight? Andy Fillmore or Tim Houston, and why?
Oh,
just a brawl, right?
I've
been thinking a lot about this question.
I'm a stocky guy. I've got this very strong core, high muscle mass.
Tim's lanky. He's got reach.
He's got reach.
He's got those. Like if he didn't keep his chin down,
it might come down to a game of cunning.
I feel like you'd be like a pit bull. If you could get in under those armpits, you could probably just wreck the body, bring him down.
I'd get in low and
and work him down.
But you know what I'd rather think about is what victories could he and I have together? Who could he and I bring down together?
Well, that's the thing.
What could we win?
I believe you guys get along. Actually,
We do
quite
very
well. So that's why I thought this question was funny. We didn't ask it because we think that you guys actually want to fight each other.
We do.
Just to be clear,
we have a lot of the same objectives, and we make a pretty good team.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
great way to make good friends after a good fight.
In fact, actually, we wanted to actually have you guys on together, but it's hard to line up two very busy people's schedules.
Yeah,
so,
100%.
Yeah. So question number 8. So we did talk about the super mayoral, with a cape powers and everything like that. That's boring. Let's talk about if you were a superhero, what powers would you like to have?
Oh, I've my whole life I've wanted to fly. So that would be the one, to be able to rise up above and look down and see where you are, see the city, see how the blocks all work together. I used to try when I was young. I used to try to train myself to dream in this way. I'd read something about it. You can, like, if you work on it, you can sort of push your dreams in certain directions. And I would always try to fly.
I've done it too, and I've done it.
Going to a different another plane.
Yeah, exactly.
The Weezer guy did it a lot. The lead singer of Weezer went to a deep depression.
Flew to Nepal.
Black blankets over the windows, trying to live in a dream world all the time. What's it called? Gosh, I forget what it's called.
I can't remember what it's called.
Man.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, mine's a very happy dream. You're soaring. It's very uplifting.
Yeah, there's a great movie about it as well. Lucid dreaming.
Question number 9. Yeah. Lucid dreaming. Yeah, okay. So question number 9. What's one decision in politics, whether it be mayor or in federal, that kind of still weighs on you a little bit? That you were kind of like, I still think about that, and I wish I did that differently.
Jeez, that's a good one. A vote that I maybe cast the wrong way. There probably have been one or two that information. There actually was one we had to legislate when I was a member of parliament. We had to legislate one Christmas, and you might remember this, maybe 2018 or so. We had to legislate Canada Post back to work at Christmas time.
Yeah.
And because Christmas was going to be canceled, there were trucks backed up full of, and so I voted that way. And later, in talking to some of the postal union members that I represented here in Halifax, it turns out that MPs were given incomplete information. And had I slowed down to get complete information, I might have voted differently on that particular one. That's one. And then I do have an abiding worry that becoming an MP, it's hard on your family. And my daughter was very young when I made that decision. And
I don't think people realize that, how hard it is.
Yeah, it's rough. And so that caused my relationship with her some harm. And we've been lucky, we've been able to rebuild it. But she's 19 now, and it's great now. But it wasn't for a long time. Yeah. And so I would advise people to be careful about that decision if they have families. And I sometimes wonder if I would have done it differently.
That's a really good answer, and actually really kind of good of you to be honest about that, actually. Yeah.
Thank you. Great answer.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So question number 10, before we get to our very, very last, but this is the question number 10. Over to you, Tobin.
Okay, yeah. Halifax's theme song. So, every city needs a soundtrack or a vibe. What do you think? It can't be Barrett's Privateers. That's overplayed. We got that song. It's a great song, but we got to move away from that this year. What's the new Halifax theme song for 2026?
We built this city on rock and roll, baby. There we go. Starship.
Love it.
When I was leading the downtown plan, some friends actually gave me a T-shirt with disco sparkly letters that said, "We built this city on." I still have this T-shirt.
Very cool.
I'll start to wear it again, I think.
I think you definitely should. 2026. I hope we see that T-shirt.
I agree. There you go. So last call. This is something that we've been asking everybody in 2025. I think we're going to keep rolling with it in 2026 just because we really, really enjoy it. And that is, what is one piece of advice that you were given in your lifetime that you'd like to share with us?
Oh, golly. And I've grown to live by it. It's that when you are trying to make a complicated decision, get to an answer, whether it's on a council floor or in parliament, or it's a community consultation, or it's around your family dinner table, no one person has the right answer all by themselves. And the way to look at it is that everybody who's in that group, your family, the council chamber, everybody has a piece of the answer. And to get to the truth, you need to listen and slow down and take the time to put those pieces together. And that shows you the truth. That shows you the right answer.
Yeah, I like it.
Words to live by.
I like it too.
Well, that is it.
Cheers to you.
Thank you very much.
Mayor Fillmore,
guys.
and to a successful 2026. We hope the best for you, and we hope the best for Halifax. So
absolutely,
and for our show, Matt, cheers to season 4, buddy.
Cheers to season 4. Thank you for kicking it off with us.
Yeah.
I think you're doing a great job. It's a really hard job to do, and I don't think people give that enough.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. I wish you a great season 4. Thanks for doing this, and we'll look forward to doing another time.
Cheers.
Awesome.
Cheers. Thank you.
Okay.